Welcome to the exclusive live webinar brought to you by AI for All Global. And topic today is Automate the Automation, where QA meets AI. Discover how AI-driven tools can help you automate test creation, predict defects, and optimize testing cycles like never before. Today, we are going to explore real-world examples and hands-on workflows that show exactly how AI can boost quality, reduce cost, and accelerate the delivery, a win-win situation for you as a professional and also the project you are working on. For this, we have our global expert, Vijay Redkar today, coming from UAE. Now, without wasting any time, I will hand over the baton to Vijay. Vijay, welcome to the webinar and over to you. All the best.
Yeah. Thanks, Manish. Thanks for this. Hello, everyone. My name is Vijay Redkar, and thanks for joining in. I'm really glad to be spending this time with you. I'll just give a little brief about myself so that we get to know each other. I work as my work pretty much is into architecture, design, development, and pretty much into banking. Banking and financials. So I've been into this field for quite some time now, and AI is something that I've been passionate about. I've been working on it, especially the areas of AI where we can apply to real world situations, apply to areas of fintech, apply to areas of banking. These are areas of my interest. My LinkedIn is here, and this is my publications on Medium. I'll just walk you through that so that we can have. This is me on LinkedIn, and these are my Medium publications. I've been working on some real world cases, and these are the publications that I've put for. You're welcome to go ahead and explore this. There's some on credit card fraud detection. There are some on AI LLM for GDPR use cases. There are multiple other ones which are related to automation. But today, the topic that we are going to talk about is something that is close to my heart. It is about our superheroes. Our superheroes who are I'm talking about our QAs. What happens is that generally the only line of defense between a fabulous production application and a disaster is our QAs. And sometimes they're the only line of defense here. So we're going to talk about that. There are times where we have seen that there is so much of intricate flows and intricate activities that our QAs have to do, and the life cycle of that QA is quite intricate. It becomes very difficult for them to manage that. It's also a matter of time. Generally, what happens is that when they get a particular requirement, it's already quite late in the game. They have to literally fight against time to go through or to understand the requirement, to get to a point where they can make sense of it, and then deliver upon it. Right. So we will talk about that, and we will see how generative AI can help in that respect. So for that, I will just go ahead and explain to you the way this session will go. So here we will talk about how we already know that QA, there is a lot of automation that happens in QA. What we will talk about is how can we provide improvements on that, and certain things that our QAs do on a daily basis, can we put in something that can ease out their life even more. All right. So this is how we will go about this session. So what generally happens is in a real world, we have multiple projects. We have projects which are greenfield projects where the requirements are new. We have brownfield projects where the requirements are you have an application that's already existing. Both these are very challenging areas for our QAs. Okay, And we will talk about these, and we will talk about the challenges faced in there and how we will go about meeting those. Here, this is generally how we will spend our time in, and we will also talk about how agentic and MCP orchestration we can utilize that for these automations. And before that, let's meet our friend Jason. All right. So Jason otherwise is a very lively person, but today he's very sad. I asked him, "What's up? Why are you so sad?" And Jason is a QA, and he said, just recently he's been handed over a Greenfield project. He's very excited about it, but the challenge here is that he's been given a BRD, he's been given requirements, and he's been told to come back and he's been told to come back with a QA on that, a QA process on that fairly quickly. And this is not unusual. This happens very often with Jason and many of our QA brothers and sisters. Generally, what happens is that your requirements that is given to you, it's quite big. It's quite big. It's quite intricate, and a lot of times it deals with scenarios which are quite complex. When you're handed there, it is expected from you that you would understand the full requirement, understand the details of it, and then be able to come up with the core requirements, the test cases, and multiple other things. This is not an easy task to do. For example, I'll show you one scenario. I will bring up my screen here. Yeah. So I have a screen here which I'm trying to get rid of.
Vijay, sorry, we lost in between for a second.
Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out allow this time, allow every visit. Okay, I think it's just asking me for one thing here. All right, fine. So let's take a look at this. So generally, what happens is that you get when you start off, you get a BRD, and the BRD generally is of this type. I'll just open it up here. Yeah. So this is generally how a BRD appears. It could be one pager, it could be 5 pages, it could be a complex system that is being described, right? It is quite tough for someone who is struggling with time to go through all this and figure out all the requirements here. Okay, and for our friend Jason, he has to read the requirement. Not only that, he has to understand the requirements. He has to come up with the test cases and multiple other things, and he's running short of time. Do you think AI or generative AI can help in this regard? Let's take a look at that. So here I'm going to run a simple demonstration here where I'm going to load this BRD and see what it brings up. Okay, I'll just take a shorter version of that just because we are short on time. Before doing that, I will show, yeah. Yep, here. So what happens is that in generative AI, one of the things that is things that helps is that okay, there are 2 versions here. It helps that generative AI has the ability to understand language. It has the ability to understand semantics, and this particular problem that we have of a BRD that is given to you, and you have to understand the requirements, it becomes very easy for generative AI to handle that. And here what happens is that when we load the BRD, you get these you get these requirements right away. Okay, and this is a huge help for our friend Jason, because one of the challenges that he's having is that one of the challenges that he has is that when he goes through the BRD, it's a huge amount of work that he has to do. It's a lot of time that he has to spend. Maybe he has to spend like 4 days, 5 days to go through the BRD. Now, when we load this BRD here, our generative AI is able to understand the requirements and understand and is able to succinctly tell us what is actually required in this BRD. So here we're able to tell what are the core requirements in this BRD. It tells us that the system is one kind of e-commerce system. It requires payments, it requires a search page, etc., etc. And it also tells us, when you go here, it automatically tells us, it also brings up the very specific points on what are the functional requirements that come up here. And this happens by just loading the document, and the AI is at work to bring up all these points to you. Now you see here, when you look at this one, it gives you all the functional requirements here, pretty much in very detail here, and it also gives you the non-functional requirements. Now, one of the other things that our QAs have to do is they have to come up with test cases, which is a very intricate task, right? So from this point onwards, what happens is, one of the main issues that the QAs have, that we have already solved here with the help of generative AI, and now we also are able to generate the test cases in a way that we can go here and you can provide the specific test. This was from a previous run here, but what we can do is that we can provide one of the requirements, and then this will generate the test cases for us. Okay, so I'll take one of the requirements from here. Let's do the same. The system shall enable users to search for products. And let's take the other one. Then system shall enable users to product details. Once we do this, and this process is at work. Now, while this runs, I'll explain to you what is actually happening behind the scenes when for this to work. And for that, I will go back to the screen here. Yes. So the part that is actually so what happens here is that when the requirement is given to AI, it is able to parse through it, and it is able to understand the semantics out of it. Now, it's the way this can be done is by using we can use simple prompting. And simple prompting can help us come up with the requirement. Okay. While this is still running, I will show you another example here. So this is the case where we are dealing with a greenfield scenario, where we have a requirements coming in, but we don't have the code, and hence so they have to do everything based on that. Now, if you are able to work through this business requirement, you don't really have to wait till the end of the test case, end of the product cycle, to come up with your cases, and then you can do this work in parallel. Now, generally, what happens is that our QAs have this are generally pulled into the product cycle towards the end of it, right? And that becomes very difficult. But with this approach, you can actually start the process right from the point where you have the requirements and go for it. Okay, so I will show you another case where we talked about a scenario where we looked at a greenfield project. Now, there is another scenario where a project application is already into production. Okay, and that application now is a legacy application where your RQAs are required to also come up with test cases. Now that's a quite difficult scenario, because at least in the first case you had the BRD, the requirements document, and you had the QA, or you had the business people who you could talk to. But here you don't have that luxury, right? So is there a way in this case where you have a brownfield project? Can this be solved? Let's look at that. Well, I have another demo here, another application where what we can do is that we can actually give it a particular. Generally, our projects would be in GitHub. We can give it a GitHub link, and then we can actually start. You can actually start start the processing based on that. So I will just run this and explain to you how this works.
Vijay,
yes.
Meanwhile, you open that run part. Can we take a couple of questions?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Very important point to left shift the QA preparation early in the project, right? And our viewers are asking a question. Do we still create BRD in Agile or Scrum methodology, or that is also an optional step with AI? What do you think about it?
Creating a BRD, we have to come to a starting point. Either it's a BRD or some kind of a requirement in terms of stories or in terms of epics or something like that. That you have to start with, right? And when you do that, there has to be one place where the expectations are mentioned, correct? And so that either could be in terms of a BRD or it could be in terms of stories, but somewhere where you can actually make a start. So that's how it would be. Yeah.
And where you load. Got it. And where you load this document in your AI startup in the program?
Yeah, so generally what you would have is that your program, your AI would normally, it could be any repository. It could be any repository where you have these documents that you put. And once you have take the particular document and there are multiple loaders that are available. You can parse that document and pass it to AI. Once AI has the text available to it, then it can go ahead and do the semantic understanding of it. Right. So let's, Manish, I see that the screen is loaded here. I can show this demo on the Brownfield project. So one of the challenges that we have in a Brownfield project is that because we don't have you don't have the requirements out there. These are projects that have been running, and maybe the people who have worked on it also are not there. So you have to figure out what could be the test cases based on the actual code, based on the actual code base, right? And that's a huge challenge. That's even a bigger challenge than the Greenfield project. One way that you can actually work through this situation is you can have AI understand your requirements, understand your code base, and it can parse through it, and it can actually create a complete structure of your project. And this is exactly what we are doing here. Our starting point here, because we don't have a requirements document, our starting point here turns out to be the GitHub. And here, when I provided it, this is a public GitHub, just a random public GitHub, which I provided. It's a project related to an e-commerce project here. So when I provided it, this is how this is what it did is it actually cloned. AI is able to clone and is able to actually give me the entire structure of the endpoints here. And once I'm able to get these endpoints, I can basically select any endpoint. Now, regression suite is one of the biggest challenges when it comes to brownfield projects. So what happens is that in order to generate a regression suite, you need to first understand what the functionality is. And because you don't have the requirements with you, it's a huge challenge for you to go through the project base and then create, first understand it and then create the test cases. Here, the way we have done it is that we have first have had AI to understand the structure of it, to understand the way the functionalities, and we have and it is now listed all these endpoints that are available. We can take any of these endpoints here. For example, let's take delete user. Yep. So what is doing here is that once you take a particular endpoint, it also is able to get all the content related to the endpoint from the GitHub to you, and then because it has all this context available to you to it, this is the actual code of that particular class. You can now attempt to generate the test script. Yeah, so let's allow it some time to generate.
So by that time, Vijay, I'll take one more question. It's also very close to me. So while QA or testing team, they are often late into requirements and objectives, will AI really help them understanding the domain knowledge of the project?
Absolutely, and that's a huge capability of AI. So either be it code or be it text, AI is pretty good at understanding and making the understanding the context and understanding and also able to explain it a lot better. So, for example, if you have documents which describe a particular process or procedure, AI will be able to understand it and explain it to you, and you can literally ask questions to it. Whereas in case of code, and that's exactly what is at play here. So what we have given this AI is the entire code base, and with the entire code base, it is able to tell us, it is able to understand the structure first. And once it is able to understand the structure, we are in a position to ask it the question. We can literally ask it, just the way it's done here, we can literally ask it, provide me all the endpoints that are available in this particular and you see all the endpoints that were listed some time ago, those were all the endpoints from this particular project, and it is listed here. And just by selecting one of the endpoints, I'm able to come here and generate a complete test case for this particular endpoint. Now, this endpoint here, I've asked it to generate a REST assured endpoint, and that's why it has created this entire structure for me. Now, imagine if you were to do this manually, okay? And frankly speaking, in the absence of AI, there is no other go for you. You have to do it manually. Imagine that situation, and a situation where you have a tool, you have a facility where you can utilize it and create these test cases on the fly. How big of an advantage is that, and how big of an efficiency that is, that brings out into your team and into your organization. And that's where AI makes a huge difference. For example, here, if you look at this test case that is generated, it has pretty much generated most of the cases that you would require for this particular class. This is about testing a delete user, a successful case, and cases that are related to non-existent users. Imagine all these things it has done, and it has done it based on its own analysis. The only thing I showed you how I did this. The only thing I have done is that I have given it the source. The source is most important here, and then I've told it to go ahead and analyze it. Now, and that's where it has come up with all these test cases. Now, this is for one endpoint. Now, if you see here, you have the liberty to literally click on any of these endpoints and then go ahead and generate the test cases for this. So the whole task that you had earlier of creating the regression test suite, which would take you months together probably for a standard project like this, now that effort now boils down to literally a few minutes, right? And that's a huge advantage that you gain and your team gains. And that's where our QAs become super productive, and they're able to they're able to contribute a lot more, even though they are all generally in a situation where the project is almost, the development is complete, and then they're handed over the requirements, or the reverse
Yeah.
situation where
Hmm.
there is a critical project and not many know about it, but we still have to have test cases created around it. Otherwise, the production, whenever you have a release into production, it becomes very fragile. This tool
True.
here, this AI capability here, definitely brings a lot to the table, and it becomes very, very valuable here. Literally, you can generate all the test cases for this, and once you generate it, you just save it. You just save that test cases, and then once you have the test case, you can execute it and run it. Now, one thing is there, that these test cases, it's not that when you run it for the first time, it's always going to run and execute the way you want it. There will be a little tweak, there'll be a little adjustment. That's what is required, and that's where exactly where your experience and your expertise comes into play. So here, although AI is an extremely helpful tool, but you are at the center of it. You are the main person, you are the superhero here. Okay, so all the thing that you need is to know how to apply AI, and how to apply the strategies of AI, more than the tools of AI, how to apply the strategies of AI. What is the capability of AI that you can utilize to achieve this particular outcomes. Okay, I will go to the next part, Manish.
Yes.
If you need to just let me know, I'll take a halt, but I can go to
Sure,
the
Vijay.
next part.
Thank you, Vijay. Very good explanation and demo. Vijay, we are getting a couple of questions.
Yes.
Dr. Amitava asks, can AI understand the domain knowledge from the software code, or is it possible to generate test cases from just a piece of code? Yeah, here are the
Uh,
questions.
yeah. So for the first part is, can AI understand the domain knowledge? Was that the first part?
Correct. From software code only, can it understand the domain knowledge? Just looking at code.
Actually, yes, it can. Certainly, it can. So, generally, what you'd have is that as long as the software code is not completely trashed, as long as the software code follows a certain standard, and it has a structure to it, AI can make sense of it. It will understand. For example, the code that we are looking at here, pretty much when you go through the structure, you'll be able to tell that this particular code has a service class which is talking about creating a product. There'll be a product controller, there'll be a product service. Based on that, AI will understand, yeah, this is something related to product. Now, when it
Right.
goes into the details of the methods of it, AI will be able to figure out, okay, there is a method to add a product, there is a method to delete a product. So now it gets an understanding, a good sense that, okay, this is dealing with the life cycle of a product. Now, what could the product be? It could be anything. It could be an e-commerce product, or it could be a scientific product, or it could be some kind of manufacturing product. Right? It will get to know that based on certain other elements, like you have DTOs, you have structures that are created that will actually name those particular elements and components. From that, it will be able to understand, okay, this is something related to payment. This is related to customer purchase. It will be able to understand that. That certainly will
Interesting.
happen.
Really
Yes.
interesting. Vijay, one small nudge. Can you close that window? I'm appearing in that. Yeah, please close it. Yeah, yeah, fantastic.
Okay.
So it can understand, and same time it can also create BRD. So basically, it can give you the context about domain and program objective, and then it can also generate the BRD you needed, and then you can refer it to upload into your project reference
Yeah.
and use it. Yeah,
Yes.
interesting.
So both
Very
ways is possible. You give it the requirement, it'll generate the code, and you give it the code, it'll generate the requirements. Both ways are possible, and that's where the efficiency comes in. That's where we are able to utilize AI to make huge leaps, huge progress in our daily work.
And many times you also need some sort of a source code control, and you need to maintain the different versions of your references. or code, what how we can enable it together while we focus on the core part, how these AI tools can help maintain the test cases and versions of it.
Yes. So what we just looked at, the regression suite, is one very good example here. So, and before I get to that, I just want to explain how the regression suite that we just created was actually working. So behind the scenes, what happens is that you have interaction with GitHub, right? You need someone or AI to have the ability to interact with the GitHub. Now, as an LLM, LLM does not have the inherent ability to interact with any other tools. There is this concept of agents and agentic approaches which allow you to do that. Now, what we are looking at here is a very simple piece of code. It is so ridiculously simple that I don't even need to explain it to you. What this piece of code does is that it says I've created an agent, and this agent is given a particular tool. In this case, it is called GitHub tools. Once you have the structure, once you have the structure, the only thing that you need to do is just create a prompt and tell it what you want to do. And when you say something like this, list all the endpoints. What we did just now is that we listed all the endpoints from the repository. The only thing I had to do in order to achieve this is list all the endpoints listed in the controller classes in the repository. That's it from this particular repository. And the internal processing of it is taken care of by the agentic framework. So this kind of approach is called declarative programming, where you use the tool and you just tell what you want, and internally the tool will decide what is the best way or what is the proper way to achieve that particular goal. Okay, and so this is how our so for this you don't really need to have a real master's in data science or anything like this. Is as straightforward as this. And any of our QAs, if you still have, I know that a lot of QAs are already into AI and making huge progress in that. But if there is someone who still feels that this is something that is difficult to achieve, it's not. It is as simple as something like this. You just have to provide the structure, and then you have to provide what you want it to do. All right. So this is the agentic approach that we have used to accomplish the regression suite that I just talked to you about. I want to show you one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
In the earlier case, when I showed you the case where I was taking the requirements and then creating the test cases out of it and creating the test scripts out of it, in that I was using even a simpler approach, even simpler than agentic. The only thing I was doing is I was making a call to the LLM. That's it. Because in that, when you get the text out of your document, the only thing you need is you need to make a call like this. You need to call the LLM and then something like LLM invoke or LLM predict and give it the prompt. That's it. Give it the prompt along with the context of the text, say the BRD or whatever is the text that you're passing to it, and that's it. It will be able to read through all that and give you the response. Here, in order to achieve the earlier use case, the only thing I had to do is that I had to say, I have to first make declare the LLM, and then simply say to it, summarize the key business requirements from this document. That's it. That's all you have to do. And once you do that, you get the response back. Now there were other things that the tasks that were required, where we are saying that generate the detailed test case for the requirement. All this is just a matter of taking the LLM and making a call to it. That's all. All right. So this particular case, the first case, was achieved by simply making a call to the LLM. Of course, we can use an agent, and if we have to talk to a particular directory or a particular file that into our system, you can use the file tools like file generation tools, which come in the agentic framework. But the main part here is that you just use the LLM and give it the text and tell it what you want from it, and that's going to be done. All right. So what we will do next is we look at another demo where we will see how a UI automation can also be achieved through that. All right. So Manish, shall I move forward, or are there any questions that are there?
I'm looking at board, and I got a couple of very interesting questions.
Yeah.
Let me take them. Shruti Raj asked how to choose right AI tool for QA purpose. I think, yeah.
Right AI tool for the QA purpose. Actually, a very good question. Frankly speaking, the first thing that we have to do, even before we go to the tool, is what is the right strategy that would work for us. For example, I just explained to you in the first case where I had a greenfield project, and all that I had was a document with all the requirements in it, right? What I had to do basically is that I had to take the document and pass through it. So the strategy that I was using there is a simple RAG strategy. That means you just extract the document, text from the document, and then you ask your question on top of it. I don't need anything else other than that. Simple LLM, make a call, and you'll get the response there. But there could be other things that would come into play. Let's say your document is way too big. Maybe it spans 10 pages, 50 pages, 100 pages. In that case, you need to combine that with a vector DB and then do the processing. Now, from a QA specific point of view, yes, there are also specific tools that are available, ready-made tools that are available, which you could make use of. Test Trigger, Test Him, are so many of the tools that are available in the market which you can directly make use of. Only thing that you have to be not concerned, but be aware of is that most of these tools are paid tools. Okay, so anytime you use this for a large scale activity, you are going to be paying that much. But the
Paying.
approach that we are looking here is a extremely simple approach. Is an approach that you can literally put it on your own laptop, on your own machine. And like I said, it doesn't take anything. It doesn't take much effort at all. As long as you have the access to the LLM. Here I showed you that I was making a call to the Gemini LLM, but absolutely nothing stops me from making a call to LLM that's sitting on my machine. I can literally put a LLM like Llama 3 or a tool calling capable LLM like Quen on my own machine, and then make all this functionality available, which is already there, which is there in this paid tools. Yeah. So it's more about what strategy and what is the business scenario that you're dealing with. All right. In the second case, like we said, because we wanted access to the external source like GitHub, that's why we had to take the agentic approach. Now, when you take agentic approach, when you decide that you will go with the agentic approach, there are many tools that are at your disposal. The one that I used here is called Agno, and Agno has a
Agno.
lot of tools and features available which you can directly use. There is another one called Crew AI. That's also a very good one. You can use that. So once you decide the strategy, the tool is not a difficult thing. The tool can be easily managed. That's
Thank
it.
you,
Yeah.
Vijay. And also, a side note, in enterprise context, if you're working with your employer or an organization, always seek and guidance, because you would always want to use an approved tool. These documents, requirement document, project scope, and all, they contain many sensitive information for business or PII. So it's better to use an approved tool in your organization. For your own DIY approach, yes, you are free to do, but we would also ask you, in enterprise context, use something your team has approved.
Yes,
Right, Vijay?
absolutely.
It's quite
Yes,
important
absolutely.
disclaimer. Yeah.
Yes.
Couple of more questions are there, but I don't want to stop the flow. Vijay, should we take them or should we take later?
Uh, shall I just execute this one
Yes,
one demo, and then we'll be free to
perfect.
take up the questions after that? Yep. All right, fine. So what we've seen is that we've seen how we solved the problem with the where a challenge was posed to us in a greenfield area. We also saw how we can solve the problems the challenge that is posed to us in the brownfield area. Now, how about UI automation? Our friend Jason here is very happy. He's very happy that we have managed to solve his major challenges. But he is also raising a question that he has. What we have dealt so far is all on API testing. Is there a way we can also do the UI testing, because that's the user facing, customer facing, and it's very important. Well, yes, of course. And even without AI, we have implemented UI automations. So what does AI bring to the table that was not available earlier? Okay, so for that, what I will do is I will execute one demo. But before that, I just want to explain to you what we are trying to do. All right. So this is the prompt that I created. In this prompt, I'm saying, let's say this UI is about applying for a credit card, and this particular website is Emirates NBD. It's one of the more very popular banks out here, and this is where where they have a portal where you can apply credit card. A screen opens up, and then you fill in all your details. Okay. Now, what I'm telling it is that in my prompt, what I'm telling it is that navigate to this particular website and then enter the details that are required on this page. My name is Jonathan Lancaster. I am Australian national, and I don't have a Emirates NBD credit card. My email is so and so, and my phone number is so on. That's all. This is all I'm telling it. And now we will execute this with this particular prompt and see how it goes. All right. So for that, I will go back to 62. I'm just going to execute a program that I'm running on my local machine. Let's allow it a little while before it initiates. So what this program basically does is, and I'll explain to you while we wait for this. Okay, it's starting up. Okay, let's just watch this. What happened? It opened up the website. It came to the screen. Okay, and it started filling in this information in here, and also it went ahead down to the drop down. It actually correctly selected the emirate, and it is also trying to now go ahead and select the monthly income. All right, so you see what all it did, and all this that it did here was based on just simply I'm trying to figure out where my presentation went. Manish, am I still audible?
Yes, Vijay, you're audible well.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the Zoom window went. Yeah, here it is. I'm not able to see the screen. I'm not able to see the presentation, PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, fine. And I think so. The way we did it, the way we made it happen is by simply giving it this particular prompt and telling it what I wanted in natural language. Now imagine what we used to do earlier when we used to write Selenium scripts and other scripts. Literally used to go and figure out what that particular tag is on the screen, and then give that tag and make calls to the API of Selenium, right? And let's say tomorrow that tag changes. Then what happens is that you have to now go ahead and make changes in your script. But here the whole approach is now changed. Here we are using something called MCP, and in MCP you just provide the particular configuration. Here in this case we're using Playwright, which is similar to Selenium, but the only thing we are doing is that we in our code we are specifying a MCP configuration. That's it. And once we have this, and once you run the particular program, it is able to do all the actions on the screen that we used to normally code for. For example, something like going to the screen and finding when I say my name is Jonathan Lancaster, and my phone number is so and so, it will actually go to the screen and figure out which is the right widget, which is the right input for this particular label. It will figure out that okay, there is a phone number. If there is a field out there which is phone number, it will take the input from this text and it will fill it there. You don't have to literally go and do the mapping there. Okay, so imagine now, we just talked about one bank. This same approach can be used for anything. It's such a generic approach that we have here. It could be used for anything. It could be for Bank of America. It could be for some other bank. So what we are doing here is with the approach of MCP, we are able to give it. We are able to make this approach so much more flexible and so much more efficient. Our QA earlier used to let's say the screens for Bank of America and Emirates NBD were completely different. That they would have to literally code for the screen for Bank of America, and then spend all that time. They spend all the time to maintain all that. But today, what will happen is that even if the screen changes, even if the tag changes, does not matter. We are using AI here, which can understand the structure and then is able to extract the data from the prompt that you provided, and then you're able to execute it. That's how we have achieved this. And it's so extremely simple. We are just giving it this particular configuration. And then we are telling it that you go to this, you're literally telling it to open up the website, and this is my information. Go ahead and fill it in and execute it. And then we are able to achieve our goal here. All right. So this is the level of efficiency that AI would bring, and with MCP, it becomes even better. All right. And to conclude, what I will do is that I'll talk to you about an extension of this third demo that we just showed, where if you can provide one MCP server for say Playwright, how about we combine multiple MCP servers and then create an orchestration of it? Okay. So here's one example here. The test data that goes onto the screen that we just saw has to come from somewhere, right? Either you have to literally take it from a source, some kind of a document, some kind of a database, and put it out there, or type it in. Or what you can do is that there is an MCP server that is available for your Mongo database also. All right, you can combine these MCP servers together. You can combine the one for Playwright, you can combine the one for MongoDB, and then you can literally tell it the way I've done here is that you can tell it that you can tell it to interact with the MongoDB also. In this case, what I'm saying is that I'm saying insert a particular record with this person named Maria John, and then and all the details of her. And after, at a later point, what I'm saying is that now you open up this portal, and you can enter the details of Maria John. So what this orchestration is going to do is, first it is going to enter the details, and then it's going to connect back to the database, pull out the details from the database, and then it's going to put it out on the screen there. So all your activity that you used to do manually earlier, wherein you have to literally maintain all the test data and create the test data, pretty much everything goes away with this particular approach. And this is a huge benefit for our QAs. All right. So with that, Manish, I am pretty much done with the demos and what I had to explain. And I'm sure our friend Jason would be very happy with all the benefits that generative AI has brought and made him an AI-powered QA. Thanks.
Thank you, Vijay. Super. Jason should be really happy, and also our audience to learn new things from you. So really compliments to you, Vijay, for explaining bits and pieces and tying up the whole story.
Thank you.
I will go to our audience once more. I'll quickly check their questions. On the latest part, I think one question came about these testing frameworks. It's about, is it easy to migrate between various languages or libraries like Selenium versus Playwright? So are we talking about abstraction or interoperability between these frameworks in AI?
It is actually quite easy. it is actually quite easy because the only thing you have to deal with here is that you have to just invoke an LLM, and LLM is a pre-trained artifact. It has pretty much all the knowledge about all these languages that it is fed into it. It knows how to. If you tell it that you need a script in Selenium, it will do that. If you tell it I need a script in say Playwright, it will do that. It will tell it I want to convert from one to another. It is definitely also going to do that. The only thing that we have to be aware here is that what depending on the level of complexity, depending on the level of intricacy that is involved, it may not be able to do 100% job. Okay, it is not. It will be able to do a lot of it, but then there will be some part that you will have to manage. You will have to orchestrate. You will have to make the final decisions on. That's where I always keep saying you are the center of this. You are the one who's actually going to be directing all this. You are the one who's going to be orchestrating all this. All right. Yes.
Right.
So to answer your question, yes, it definitely can be done.
So you are the brain behind it, and let AI automate things for you. Let not
Yes.
give it full control, right?
Yes.
Clear. Very, very valid. I think it applies generally to all AI scenarios, right? Another question, Mr. Saish Malik, about agentic testing flow. Would chaining agents such as a planner, test case generator, script builder, and executor be an optimal way to automate the QA cycle? Or are there better orchestration strategies?
Oh, actually, this is a very nice way to move forward. So there, if when you have first thing is you have to first figure out what is the process that you're trying to automate. The process that is just described here seems to be a well thought one. Like it appears to be a sequential one, right? And you can certainly use this approach of chaining agents in order to achieve this. Chaining is just one way of doing it. Chaining means you do it sequentially. Now your agents also have the ability to do a collaborative approach, right? Let's say there is a situation where there is a discussion that needs to happen rather than one person completing, handing over to the second person. Assume that there is a discussion that needs to happen. When that situation happens, you can literally just tell your agent framework to do a collaborative work, and it's a matter of just specifying a parameter in there. You can say sequential, you can say collaborative, you can say hierarchical, you can say parallel. There are multiple modes of operation that are there, and certainly in a situation like this where you need to chain things, a sequential approach would do, and this is a good way of moving forward.
Thank you, Vijay. In our previous section, there was one question I missed to take up.
Yeah.
How AI can help in accessibility testing, asked by Ravi Ranjan Singh.
Accessibility testing, yes. In fact, I think there are quite a few tools that are already out there which are doing a very good job in accessibility. I'm assuming that means that people with determination, right? That's what the question is
Yeah,
towards.
with yeah, maybe
Yes,
for people with
one
disability or certain
yes,
situations.
yes. One straightforward way of doing it is that a person who has vision impairment, we already have the solutions and quite prevalent out there where the text can be read aloud. A very simple way, but a very effective way for handling the situation, right? And many such approaches can be done. And for AI, conversion from different format, text to speech, speech to text, image to text to image, are not very difficult challenges. These are very straightforward approaches, and there are extremely good models that are available out there which can do all these interconversions. And yes, so definitely it makes a huge enhancement and huge progress when you use AI for these kind of tests as well.
Fantastic. So multimodality of AI
Yes.
can be leveraged in testing as well. No doubt about it.
Yes.
Super. Uh, Another important question from Saish Malik, and related to our favorite topic. AI models often give varied responses to the same input, which challenges the QA consistency. How we can make it sure that it's more deterministic and align with the code base or the documents like FRS or maybe any business rules.
Yeah, actually, it's a major concern. It's a major concern of our consistency. Now, one thing about AI is that one is to know how to use a tool. Second is to how to control AI, how to make AI behave in a way or respond to you in a way that you want it to behave, you want it to behave, rather than it making a decision on how it should be. Yes, making a direct call to the LLM, getting response is one way of doing it, but again, you are not in control there. You are letting the AI do whatever it is doing based on its discretion. But when you need the control, there are multiple ways in which you can do it. One straightforward way of doing this is chain of thoughts. Chain of thoughts is a specific way of talking to the AI and telling it how you should progress with a particular processing, telling it that look, do this one, do this two, do this three, and then you can reach the result for. When you do that in the way of chain of thoughts, the AI behave. We have seen that for a large number of cases and very consistently, AI behaves in a way that you are directing it to. So yes, so this is one way of doing it. And second way of doing it is uh, by when you give an input to an AI, you have the control of giving it a large input, a small input, or something that is manageable. It is always better that you give it an input that is more manageable. Even if the context window that an AI can handle is a huge one, the better way of doing it is to give it a small chunk of data and then let it process, and then you evaluate the response and then tell it that it needs to be further refined. This back and forth process, when you do it, it becomes a lot more refined. The output becomes a lot more refined. Now our agentic frameworks are pretty much doing that. When they actually start the process, they start a planning phase, and when they start the planning phase, they actually figure out a particular way, multiple ways, and then a particular way which they feel is the most optimal. This is similar to what we do when we deal with databases. When we write a query SQL, the first thing that happens that a database engine does is, rather than directly executing the result, it creates multiple explain plans, and then it decides which is the most optimal explain plan. Similar to that, this is also what happens. There are reasoning models that are available, there are agentic frameworks that are available which are doing this, but at the end of the day, it helps when you have the control, and chain of thoughts is one of the way that you can have
Chain of the
control on your
thoughts.
AI.
Very well mentioned, Vijay. I certainly learned something very new here and very important too. Another question is that about test data. Can it help me with test data specific to my projects or requirements? If yes, please tell us how we should do it. Asked by Ankur Puri.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the major benefits of using AI for this kind of situation. Imagine you have a case where you're testing a payment scenario, and you need to test it with multiple cards, right? Payment could happen with multiple cards, be it a credit card, debit card, prepaid card, or a Amex card, multiple. Now, if you have to do this testing as a QA, you have to first generate all this data. You have to literally know how this formats occur. Some cards are 16 digits, some cards are more than that, some cards are less than that. The number of digits, the CVV changes, the type of format, other formats like dates and all change. So you need to know, you need to have that knowledge. But when you use AI, you can literally tell it by simple prompting, absolutely simple prompting. You can tell it, I am going to be testing this particular type of scenario, and I need a corpus of test data that covers scenario 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can just tell it, give me for various scenarios, cards, credit cards, and it will generate a full list of cards which will pretty much cover a lot of spectrum of your payment scenario. That's a very good way to generate test data.
Amazing. Good to learn that. About free tools, one of the question is about which are the preferred or tools you'll recommend which are available without any cost to users. Would you like to throw some light?
Yeah, see, just in general knowledge, there are tools that are available which are like Test Rigger, Testim, and there's I think one more called Ninja Craft or so. Many of these tools are paid, okay, but there is a certain free trial period or so that you can utilize those. Some of the tools are so straightforward and simple that you can literally have them embedded in your browser itself, and you can literally use it from your browser. You don't even need to have a setup of that. But yes, most of the tools that we know of that are professional testing tools are paid, and very few are free. But the paid ones are definitely quite good. Now the other way is that, of course, now that you know how easy it is to deal with AI, how easy it is to have this orchestration with AI, you can literally spin up a simple Python program and have one agent and interact with multiple different resources, interact with your database, extract the data, and then have your testing scenarios created the way we have just seen here. You may not really have to completely depend on a paid tool. Uh, Maybe out of 10 scenarios, probably say 6 scenarios are such that you can easily make those happen with your own custom programming, which you just saw. And maybe for very, very intricate and specific cases, you'll be using the paid tools. So that way you will be saving on money also.
Great insights. Shruti is asking that first she's complimenting for great session, but she's also asking QA is better to use Playwright or Selenium with AI for UI automation.
I believe people have their preferences. Playwright certainly is a tool that has been more a modern one, a recent one, and I feel it has a lot of capabilities which Selenium is catching up on. Okay. So and the most important and most amazing part here is that using this Playwright tool and any of these AI tools is you don't really need to put in so much of effort. You just have to understand. You just have to provide the prompt in such a way that it is clear and non-ambiguous, and the AI will do the task for you. And of course, the data that you source to it should be the right one. Now, you see, there is a huge change in the paradigm here. Earlier, in our traditional programming, to do a simple task, we used to give a lot more. We used to write a lot more code, correct? But here it's the reverse now. We do a lot more things by writing a very simple piece of code, and that is not even a code. It is just natural language. Right? The whole paradigm has changed here. Yeah, so I think it's a matter of choice, paradigm, Playwright or Selenium, but I feel a lot of people prefer a Playwright.
Super. Another question came, and it's directly about as an architect. Vinay is asking which tool you use, and do you use AI for your QA specific needs in your day-to-day work?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, my opinion is that the lines between QA and development is blurring out, frankly speaking. When I say write a piece of code, I don't really have to do something like a separate activity of QA on it. Like it's not a distinct and separate activity. When I write the code, I generate the test script around with it, just like the way we saw here. We gave it the code, and AI was able to generate the companion test script out of it, correct? And we gave it the requirement, and it was able to generate the test script out of it. So there are so many tools, and it's become so easy now to generate this that frankly it doesn't really feel like a different activity altogether. QA and testing is just part of the regular development now.
Amazing. And I'm reading a lot of comments complimenting for the session and knowledge you shared, Vijay. So again, greetings for that. There is one generic question. So we saw one aspect of the QA automation with AI. They're also asking when our next sessions is coming. So do you have any insight what you're going to bring next for our audience?
There's a lot that we could have covered, but to give the constraint of the time, we had to sort of rush through this thing because I wanted to give you a lay of the land. I wanted to show you what is actually possible. Okay, and there is so much more possible. Imagine how about performance testing with AI? Is that something you would like to learn? Is that something that you would like to be interested that you'd be interested in? Imagine the amount of effort, time, and energy that you spend on performance testing. If you have to run an endurance test, you have to run it for minimum 6 hours, right? And then let's say that particular after that you realize that something is not right with it, or some combination is not right. You have to again configure the whole thing. If you had a way of doing this with the help of AI and automating this, and AI understanding the NFRs of that particular spec, understanding the from the past history, understanding the NFRs, understanding the reports, and then creating a performance test plan for you, wouldn't that be a huge win for you? That would certainly be something that we would want to look into, and I'm very excited to talk about that moving further. Yeah.
Great. We ran a poll with our audiences and we asked automation topics. And right now we see two trending results while poll is running. Automating workflows with AI tools is leading, and followed by AI in testing and quality assurance. So I think these are the two leading ask from our audiences. Certainly, we
Yep.
can plan performance testing also in our upcoming sessions by AI for All Global.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and really well explained. Maybe a last question now. Arun is asking, what do you see as major challenge in wider adoption, and what is the feasible path, in your opinion, to maybe unblock that challenge?
Major challenge in adopting AI in
Adopting
testing,
AI in
or
testing,
I
yes,
believe in testing, right? Yeah.
correct.
Here's the thing I feel, you know, in IPL, I'm quite sure everyone has seen at least one of the IPL. There's something called power play, right? You have a choice as a team. You have a choice whether you take that power play or you don't take it, and you have a choice whether you strategize with that power play or you don't. Okay, so taking that power play does not guarantee that you're going to win the match, but when the other team strategizes and takes up that power play, there's a guarantee that you will lose the match because you haven't done that. AI is just like that. You have a choice of adopting it or not adopting it. But the one who adopts it as against you, he definitely will have a bigger edge over you. So there is a guarantee that things are going to be quite difficult if we don't adopt it right now. So I feel there is no challenge as such because it is so easy now to interact with AI, to get AI to work for you, that really there is no reason for us not to do that. And in fact, AI has been solving so many of our problems, just like the ones that we saw today. Areas in Greenfield, areas in Brownfield, areas in automation testing, QA, UI testing, even in performance testing, so many of these areas, even if it is, say, we are not getting results at 100% right, a good 60-70% efficiency that we're getting and the correctness that we're getting gives us that huge leap forward. So I feel it should not really be seen as a challenge. It should be really seen as a huge opportunity, and which should be grabbed with both hands.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you. With that, I think we can conclude now. And really, thanks again, Vijay. Quite insightful. And yeah, the demo was exactly as what people use in project. So with audience question and answer and interactivity, we can imagine there is a lot of interest, and there's a demand for this knowledge in the community. We would also like to showcase our next upcoming session. We are coming back with tips, top 25 tips you can learn in 50 minutes, brought to you by AI for All Global. So feel free to tune in next week, same time, same place. And with that, lot of compliments to Vijay, and
Thank you.
wishing all our audience a nice weekend and happy learning. Yeah.
Thanks all for
Thank you.
joining in.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.